Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game SO. Taking our long-running series, the Unported playlist, where I take out some of my favorite unported arcade games of all time. And today we're playing Initial D Arcade Stage 4 version 1.5. And interestingly, this was the last Initial D ever to get an English translation and release outside of the West. Every game after this has been in Japanese exclusively. And while you don't really need to know the story, the motivation is gotta go fast, just like Sonic Down or Up the Hill. It is fun to get full English language here. And while this is not my favorite Initial D game out there, every single one is great in their own respect, and I was thinking about doing a retrospective, but I realized they're all so similar, it might be just more fun to spread them out. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, it definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But I featured two different Initial D videos on the channel in its history, one on Naomi, and I believe one for Initial D Arcade Stage 5. 4 is also an amazing game. If you like arcade racing games and you like drifting, then Initial D has so much to offer you. And if you've never played an Initial D game before, I can't stress enough just how incredible this series is. It is fun arcade racing with a huge drifting component in it. You really need to learn every single course front to back because you're going to be racing them uphill and downhill. There's going to be so many switchback chicanes and U-turns that you're going to have to make with drifts. If you do not play this game well, you're never going to see the checkered flag and progress in the story mode. But that's why I love this game so much, the sensation of learning and getting better at the courses, understanding the apex of the turn, where to enter and where to exit, where to drift and where to hit that gas and let up on the brake, really does make this game feel like something challenging and something you can learn. It's not anywhere near something like Gran Turismo as a sim aspect, but it requires the same amount of attention and learning curve to be able to get good at the game. And just so you know, we're going to be in the first person view the entire time doing this video because it's the only way, in my opinion, to actually play Initial D. If you're in the third person mode, I just end up bouncing into things way too often, even though I have hit the wall a few times here because it's been a few years since I actually played Stage 4. But Sega makes an absolutely amazing arcade racing game, so much so that I did a retrospective on all of their 3D arcade racers and just put one Initial D in there, otherwise I would have to cover like 10 more games. And this is Sega at the height of their ability to have an amazing arcade racing game experience. The frame rate, the handling system, the graphics, the drifting, the music, everything about Initial D is just an amazing package. But it really is the very close to real life roads in Japan courses that really seal the deal for this game being this good. There's so many incredible turns, you really need to figure out your speed, your car, and basically make those a marriage of one and another. You want to pick a vehicle you're comfortable with and you want to learn it front to back, because once you actually understand every single intricacy of that car, you're going to do so much better. It's kind of like a fighting game where you pick your main, but in this instance it's not a fighter, it is a vehicle. And there's something really fun about that. Think about your everyday driving vehicle. Sure, you're not drifting it around corners, and if you are, you don't need to tell me about that. Do that in your own time. But you do know where every single button is. You know the acceleration and braking curve of the vehicle. You know the handling, and you get so comfortable with it. You could probably drive it in your sleep, although again, very ill-advised. That's what Initial D is when you pick that vehicle and you learn everything about it. You get good at the game, you progress, you take on harder stages, and you really have an absolute drifting arcade racing battle. Because there's going to be multiple opponents in each stage to take on, and the highest difficulty of them all is going to take so long for you to actually beat. Do not feel bad if you do not win at this game when you first start. That's the entire point of Initial D. You have to get better and you have to improve, and that's why it has so much longevity. And the nice thing is there is a license saving feature in the game, so you can come back and save your progress and pick back up where you left off. But you'll see here a few too many driving mistakes and I let my opponent get in front of me. At the top right hand corner of the screen you're going to see an advantage or a disadvantage. How far away you are from your opponent in meters or how much ahead you are in meters. You want to always be ahead because trying to get back into first place is an absolute slog, but that's where the game really becomes fun. Chasing this car down in front of me, watching where he's taking his turns, and knowing if I play my cards right and I race a clean line, I can get around him. Here he made one mistake, I was a little bit cleaner through that turn, and I was able to get back into first place. Now trust me, as you get to later difficulties, if you get behind the opponent, they will bump you, they will block you out, they will do everything in their power to make sure you do not beat them. And that is why this is so much fun. It's a one-on-one, head-to-head race, and in the higher difficulties, even if you do win, you're going to be winning by mere meters. You might even get a bumper-to-bumper photo finish style race. That is how good the AI is in this game, and that's how much they force you to become a better racer. You'll see here I was able to take the finish line in first place, though relatively easy. And this game also has an awesome soundtrack. I'm going to try to let you listen to it. It's possible that throws up a copyright flag for some of the music. So you'll either hear music for about 45 seconds, or you'll hear me come right back and talk a little bit more about Initial D, because I'm never quite sure with these games what's going to work and what's not. So let's find out.
私も手加減しないからさ。あなたの実力を見せてもらうからね。
Absolutely amazing music, or you heard me talk for 45 seconds, because these games are tricky and I'm never sure what's going to happen until I upload them. But as we start going uphill, I do love the fact that in every single stage that has an uphill or downhill component, you get to go either direction. And trust me, uphill versus downhill is a completely different race. Sure, it is just mirrored, and yes, it is the same road, but I find the downhill segments so much harder than the uphill segments. There's just something about going down and dealing with your speed and picking it up quicker because you have gravity on your side. When you're going uphill, you're not having as fast of a race because obviously you're fighting against gravity and trying to pull yourself up the road. When you're going downhill, even if you don't have your foot on the gas, you still have that free roll of momentum just bringing you down the course. You do need to drive it in a completely different manner, but that is the fun. And honestly, for a game that came out in 2007 and is almost 2 decades old, it still looks really nice as well. And when you get your opponent in the rearview mirror and they start bumping you, that stress definitely comes out. But I would say all the models, all the environments in the road hold up extremely well for a game that came out in 2007. And don't forget, there's other Initial Ds that are definitely a lot newer, and some of the newer cabinets, if you live in a big city and go to a large arcade, you may still see some import cabs, because even though after this game is basically Japanese exclusive, some arcades do bring these cabinets over. I was at a GameWorks in Portland, Maine, and I saw an Initial D Stage 7 and played with my nephew, gave it a couple rounds, and had a fun time. What the best part is, all of these games work at home on Techno Parrot. You can bring an analog controller, you can bring a steering wheel and pedal set. You have the ability to play these at home, and that's always a great thing, because if you don't live in a big city, the odds of you seeing an Initial D cabinet are basically zero. And I love how they play around with the environments as well. We're going to have daytime races, nighttime races, races that take place in rain, and then again, your entire handling characteristics going to change up, because if you've ever driven in the rain, especially fast, again, not something you should do, your vehicle will definitely fishtail out. The ass end of the car just wants to get out from underneath itself, and you can totally throw your car into a spin. So when you're playing something like Initial D and it is raining, suddenly again you need to change up your entire thought process as to how to actually handle your vehicle so you can get that first place finish. But that's what I love so much as well. It just keeps you on your toes, keeps you guessing, and keeps you learning. And if you've never played any Initial D game before, you can start anywhere you want. If you want the most modern version, obviously grab that one. It's going to be the most fully featured and have the best graphics, but you can really just kind of jump in anywhere. And trust me, even though this is an arcade racing game, you're going to think you're going to spend 45 minutes with it. You can play an Initial D game for 20, 30, 40 hours and still learn something and see something new. That is why this series is so incredible. Obviously, it's based off an anime and a manga. I don't know anything about those. I just know the racing games, but I'm sure those are good as well. But if you enjoy those, leave me a comment down below and tell me, should I watch at least one of the anime episodes? Sometimes I do before I do these voiceovers, but for an arcade racing game, it didn't just feel pertinent. And you will see there just a moment ago, I was able to get in front of that red car, and now I am adding to my advantage. If you race clean, it's going to be a good time. If you go into the corners in the wrong manner, you're going to bump the wall and you're going to have a bad time. But that is completely up to you. How you drive, how you accelerate, where you drift, where you exit the drift, and the overall characteristics of the vehicle you choose are going to be what delineates your driving technique from others. And that is always amazing. And Sega is just the absolute king of the arcade racing genre. No other company ever did as good as Sega, and they continue today to still absolutely kill it all. If you want a modern contemporary comparison, go check out Wangan Midnight Tune from Namco. It's basically their version of an Initial D. And who wouldn't have fun with that? But if you have played Initial D before, leave me a comment down below and tell me what games you played and which ones are your favorite. For me, I would probably say the most recent one's definitely been hitting a lot lately, because outside of making the channel, I do put on some arcade racing games at night just to kind of hang out, sometimes with a controller on my couch and sometimes with my wheel and pedal set on my PC. But go play an Initial D game. You can start here with Arcade Stage 4 or anywhere else you want. Just make sure you play it because they're 10 out of 10s. I'm done, we're going to win the race, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.